everybody. Welcome to This Week in Android. I'm your host, Ashley Esqueda, and I have some very enterprising guests with us today. Like, it's like guest day today.
It is guest day.
I'm like super excited about it. I just want to apologize to everybody because I did promise last week a Google developer would be on the show. He had a meeting that he couldn't reschedule, but that's okay because he's going to come back on the show. And it's also okay because we have not one but two guests on the show today. In studio with us, we have Sefferman, co-founder of AppStoreHQ. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we'll also have Jozef Casar with Telargo via Skype for our App of the Week, which is Delivery Manager. And as always, my trusty, I don't want to call you sidekicks. Like, you guys are
We're like Robin and Robin.
We're like the Avengers. We're like Android
I like
Avengers.
that.
That's what it must be.
You're like superheroes?
Yeah, we're like
I like
superheroes.
that.
We're like
I'm wearing my
mystery
Fantastic
men.
Four shirt. So.
Perfect. Oh, see, there you
I'm
go.
ready to go.
It's awesome. And Mark
Wolverine?
Jeffrey.
I'm Wolverine.
And yeah, and he's got the chops.
Yes,
and
we're definitely on the Marvel side of the fence here.
Yeah.
Today.
yes, and so my Marvel sidekicks or superhero friends. I don't know. What do you call them? Like, what do you?
Team.
Super team. Yeah.
that's
All right. We're a super team. We're like
Something
we're like an
like
Android
JLA
brigade or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We need something like JLA. You're exactly right. All right. Well, obviously, the big news of the week, OS 4 was announced. Apple is, 7 tent pole. So let's talk about what it means for Android.
Talk about that. Well, actually, one of the greatest features that Apple came out with is a really restrictive terms of service for
Yes.
developers. So that's one of the things that Apple wasn't talking about. We're going to talk about that also.
Yeah. I see you have your.
I did.
I see you have
I
your
did.
Jobs machine.
I went
today.
and bought the evil machine that I know I'm not supposed to show on the Android show, but
I know.
nonetheless, here it is, the iPad.
The thing is we
But
can't ignore it.
I tried to buy an Android tablet before this, but I can't buy one. I still can't buy one.
Not yet. And but you can't ignore it. I mean,
No, you can't.
you can't ignore the iPad. You can't ignore Apple. Like, we can't just pretend like they don't exist on the show because obviously they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yep.
So Steve Jobs has 7 tentpole upgrades or features with OS 4. The very first one is multitasking, something people have been screaming about for years, ever since the iPhone first launched. And like, for me, it's like, no offense, but welcome to like the late 90s. Like,
Right.
I don't really, I mean, I get it. Like, it's done elegantly enough, like, I guess. I mean, I'm spoiled with, like, I think WebOS for me has the most elegant multitasking system. But, and Android is really nice too. It's very seamless.
Android is a true multitasking operating
True
system.
multitasking.
Jobs' multitasking ain't really multitasking.
Right.
That's one of the things that...
Freeze and start again later.
Yeah.
Right. It's like where the OS will freeze
like
your...
TSRs. Remember like DOS where you had like the terminate and stay resident?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. That's what it reminds me of. Which is very old
You
school.
guys are so old.
I know. I'm sorry.
And I feel like I'm almost there. I'm going to be like, remember that time back in the day. But, for me, like, they talked about how there was no way to close an app while it was running because it wasn't really running in the background.
Right.
And to me, that seems like a really good opportunity for memory leaks. It seems like a really good opportunity. I know they're saying, like, this is why the battery life is going to be the same. Like, they're not going to have less battery life. But I disagree. Like, I think there's going to be problems. Like, and I just, and then also I hate the UI. Like, I hate the icons and everything.
Yep.
I think it's hideous. And so.
Well, look, it's an afterthought. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
this. This is not something they intended to do. The hardware is not geared for it. The operating system is not made for it.
But people
They're
demanded
retrofitting it. Yes. Well, they're responding to Android. I mean, this is one where Jobs is running. He's on the run now, and he's got bullets flying around his head for a change. So it's very clear that they're trying to catch up to Android and everyone else. So it remains to be seen. I mean, I think that it's going to be a while before they have true multitasking. I don't believe they've actually addressed it.
It'll take the next phone, I would imagine.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully it won't be a Windows complex where like they're stuck with this legacy operating system trying to bolt things onto it and just shoot themselves in the foot with every new release.
And then the wheels start coming off.
I'm hoping they have more innovation than that, and more forethought.
One of our chat room members said, "I think the iPhone OS 4 announcement is a major disappointment." I agree. I don't have an iPhone, but I could see where if I was an iPhone user, I'd be like, "Really? That's it?"
Yeah.
Especially after, I mean, like, the iPad is a cool piece of machinery, and I think that it's launch may not necessarily be innovative in terms of tablets or like, like people are saying, well, it doesn't have a USB port and it doesn't support Flash. But
Right.
in terms of the object itself changing the landscape of mobile, like ebooks and things like that, I mean, the iPad would be a game changer in that sense. And so I can appreciate.
Well, I'm actually going to address what you just said, because this is a thought that's occurred to me also. So a lot of people sort of grousing about what they didn't do, and I agree with you. And it's from someone who likes gadgets point of view, there's a lot they left out.
Right.
But if you look at it, in order to win in business, a classic strategy that is proven to have won time and time again is the crossing the chasm strategy, which is basically you pick one beachhead that you're just going to take, and you're going to point all your Army guys at that beachhead, and you're going to own it. Don't worry about invading everywhere at once. Just worry about this one.
Right.
Take that beach and move on from there. That's what Jobs is doing here. He basically decided battery life was important, screen resolution was important. Everything else is, if it has to go, don't worry about it. And the reason why he did that is because he's chasing books, he's chasing movies, he's chasing video. This is a media consumption device.
Right.
It is not meant
necessarily
in many
a
ways.
small, thin,
That's right.
portable laptop.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I think that's.
So from a business point of view, it makes a lot more sense than it does from sort of a geek point of view.
I'm a geek, so.
I hear you.
I'm like, I need my USB ports.
I'm conflicted.
I gotta have.
I like both.
Going back to the announcement being sort of a letdown, it was like multitasking as the first sort of tentpole was actually like, I was like, okay, it's maybe not done the greatest, but that's something they had to do. But then once we got to the next tentpole, which was folders, it was like, oh
I
god,
love
really?
Folders.
Like,
Yeah, it is pretty laughable. Folders is a laughable.
He was just like folders, and even then, like, and he didn't even seem like it was just like, wow, I get to drag an icon, it'll make a folder. Gosh, like this is so innovative. Like
Yeah, that was painful almost.
yeah, like I was just
It's like saying icons.
yeah, like it was just so.
Really?
And it would, for me, it's like I expect them to take a step up and like up the game.
You think they're going to patent that?
Yeah,
Folders.
exactly. We're going to patent that folders idea. I think it's great. They patented. They got the patent on cover flow.
Oh, yeah?
So the other day they got granted the patent on
Really?
cover flow. Yep.
Let's see how that
So
goes.
there's a lot of different applications that are going to have to
Yep.
pony up or get out. So in terms of cover flow, so I'm curious
Interesting.
to see what happens with that.
So what else we got?
Folders, boring. I'm unimpressed. And then enhanced mail. Again, the unified inbox, something that Android phones and other Palm has been doing this since long before WebOS.
Right.
A unified inbox. And then also the multiple exchange account support. Android's been doing it since 2.0. And opening attachments. Like, this is another thing. Like, even Steve Jobs didn't seem excited about it. He was like, well, we got to organize it. Okay, let's move on. Like, he didn't even seem like he was just like, well, this is great. Like, good for you business users. All right, let's continue.
Yeah.
So, again, yawn.
Yeah.
iBooks. You were talking about iBooks.
Yeah. So my reaction to iBooks, especially it's made for the iPad clearly. Well, it's only available on the iPad. It's got, well, first of all, the way you turn pages is really nice.
It's very
So
cool.
they actually ship with Winnie the Pooh on here, the one book, so you can see pictures. Because they're obviously like saying, hey, look at us versus the Kindle. The Kindle, there's no pictures. It's black and white only.
Extremely interactive.
Yes. So you turn the pages and you actually see the cartoon and the curl of the page.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's kind of nice. And the books actually are on a shelf, so they're really copying physical reality quite exactly. Probably unnecessarily so. But the selection of books is pretty poor. There's not really a lot of books in the iBook store. I find that I was a big Kindle user. I now don't use the Kindle device as of 72 hours ago.
It's now gathering dust.
But I downloaded the Kindle application onto my iPad. I am using that. That is not my primary way of consuming books.
I've heard people love
Yes.
the Kindle app. Like, I've heard it's very
And now here's the thing
intuitive.
about that is my Kindle app will synchronize all my books across my iPad, my iPhone, my Android device, my desktop, and my Kindle. If you use iBooks, it will sync across your iPad. That's it. So it's
That's pretty.
that's pretty big.
Whisper Sync's a cool feature.
So yeah, so selection of books plus that equals I'll be using my Kindle app on here from now on.
So I think that in terms of Android for iBooks, like, I don't know if, like, does anybody want to see? Do any of you guys want to see a proprietary like Android books app or a store or like iBooks, or would you rather just use Kindle and have
I'd
it,
rather
like you
use
said,
the Kindle.
sync across everything?
Amazon's figured it out. Why screw
Yeah.
around? Let's just give me the Kindle on the Android device. That's what I want now. I want an Android tablet with Kindle on it, and boom, I'm done.
So again, something that they don't that Android isn't really worried about. Like I would imagine they're just like, okay, well, we have Kindle and we have Kindle too, and
Probably, yeah.
you have iBooks, and good for you. Like you've got your little bookshelf picture and everything like that. We'll get to that question, the terms of service. We're going to talk about that.
Yes, we are.
Again, the next one, business extras, standard fare for Android. And
Which
if
is
not
what are
natively through
business
third
extras,
party, they have like better data protection, multiple exchange accounts.
Better data protection? Did it like suck before or something?
Yeah, like I like
think-
it. That's like a major tentpole thing. Like we're
I
gonna
think
have
it's
better
I think it's
data
that they can now encrypt data within an app or something like that.
Yeah, but it just sounds like we suck less.
It
and it's a
seems
feature.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
like we've learned to suck a little less,
Yeah.
and this
No.
congratulations. Like like that's the thing to be excited about. Here's something that is very close to my heart because I'm a gamer, like as you are with the books, like the ebook stuff. I think that Apple has a huge lead on Android with the Game Center. That's going to be a huge deal.
Yes, they do.
I think that the achievements, the matchup stuff. I mean, all of that is great. Like I'm really impressed with
Scrabble
how
on
they did
here
that.
is really awesome.
Unbelievable,
And it integrates
especially
with
with two
Facebook.
little
Yeah.
iPhones. And I mean, it's
Actually,
great.
the other thing I noticed about this, and I didn't realize this till I bought it. The experience is very much like a Microsoft Surface. If you ever played around with those,
I've
just
heard
in
that
miniature.
before.
Yes.
Yeah, that it's
so
Surface
things
in
sort of move
miniature.
around in that sort of a Minority Report kind of
Except
way.
you don't want to put your glass on it,
Yeah.
and then it
Yeah,
won't.
it's very much like that. And so, like when you're moving the Scrabble pieces around, you push it around to where you want it to go, and then it'll click into place. I mean, you could do shuffleboard on here. You could have air hockey, that kind of thing.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And I think that this, like, the Game Center plays into the discussion we have all the time about how Android can't seem to organize and distribute evenly across all carriers, platforms, phones.
Yep.
They're going to have to step up the game here because we're coming into Windows Mobile 7 with Xbox Live integration. And they're obviously going to have it. I mean, it would be insane to assume that they wouldn't have some kind of mobile gaming Xbox Live where you've got smaller games. Like even on the PlayStation Network, you're able to play with games like Pixel Junk Shooter and things like that. So I can't imagine that Windows Mobile is going to have, not decide to not have some kind of gaming center as well. So Android, I'm very curious as to whether Android is going to say, okay, well, like we're going to do this as well, but how do you do it? Do you partner with Sony? Do you partner? I mean, because Apple proprietary games, like, you get a lot of games. It's just games for.
So as a developer, that's actually a really interesting point, right? Because if I have an iPhone app and it's a game, right? And I want to use this service, and then I need more distribution for my app, so I go port to Android. Now all of a sudden, I can't have those two sync up, right?
Talk to each other.
So
right.
there is definitely some sort of market in having a an independent third party guy like that does that for you.
It'll be interesting to see if Adobe Air comes into play for the game centers, where people are going to be developing Flash games that can be ported to both, or if at some point, I mean, I can't imagine Apple going like, okay, well, yeah, like we'll have Game Center talk to an Android phone.
Right.
Like they'll never do that.
Right. Exactly.
So it'll be. I will be very interested to see how the development community in Android responds to the Game Center.
Yeah, I mean, this is the classic problem that Android has had in multiple dimensions, which is one of the great things about a dictatorship is it's organized. Right. So tyranny works to a certain extent. It doesn't let everyone play. It's not like a democracy, and democracy is sloppy, and that's pretty much what Android is. So we love it, but it really does need to step up its game. There has to be some sort of centralized force. Release
I don't know where I see that coming from because
does it come from Google? Does Google
maybe.
make right? Does Google make a mobile?
I think it's got to come from Google.
Gaming, right? Because then they push that app equally to all phones. Do they do it in the way that they have sort of decoupled Google Voice, the calendar, Maps?
That's the temptation that they will face.
Do they make it an app where it's a center within an app that they push through as as they make changes to it?
Why don't we ask the app guy?
Yeah,
what do you think about this?
So I actually think that it's a good opportunity for Google to do something like this, but it's also a great opportunity for a startup to come through and really knock it out of the park in terms of multi-platform support for developers, right? So if I were somebody who had the chops to do that, I would think that's a good idea.
Before I feel bad now because I didn't explain what Ian does and what AppStoreHQ is. So tell us a little bit about AppStoreHQ.
So AppStoreHQ really simply is just it's a website for mobile app search and discovery. So we started with iPhone only, actually, but it turns out of the 3 of us on the team, I'm the only iPhone user. The rest are Android users. So last month or so, we launched Android support. So you can view all of the apps in Android Market. We have some things sort of like, if you guys ever used Hype Machine for music. So Hype Machine for music basically goes out and grabs what songs different blogs are talking about and then organizes them via popularity over time. We actually do the same thing for Android, iPhone apps over tech blogs and iPhone blogs and stuff like that, and basically give you sort of another vector for discovery of mobile apps. So search and discovery of mobile apps is the highlight there, and you can browse by category, price, ratings, all sorts of different things like that.
Which is a much needed.
Yeah.
Much needed
Right.
service.
What's interesting is how,
especially in terms of Android.
Exactly, and it's really interesting how so many people discover their apps off the phone, right? Like they actually discover apps on the web a lot, and so we have phone support in terms of a mobile optimized site, but being on the web is a great thing.
So, and then the last thing that I personally have some conflicted feelings about is this iAd stuff. Where he like pulls up, oh look, it's an ad for Toy Story 3, and he clicks on it, and there's like wallpapers you can use, and it's very interactive. It's like an ad app, which is sort of, for me, it's like kind of bizarre.
It's an ad platform.
Right, and but for me, like I can see where.
Well, it is innovative though. You have to at least give them
very
that.
Innovative, and it'll have huge groundswell when it first launches. Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of ad companies are going to pay Apple to get in on it, but. Like, if I'm looking at a website and I see an ad for something, I almost never click on it. Like, I'm not going to be like, ooh, like, the
But
novelty.
you're not everyone.
Yeah.
The novelty of it will amuse me for a short amount of time, but then after that, I'm going to be like, okay, like, I don't have the time to sit here and, like, navigate through this app ad and, watch a commercial about Michael Jordan's history of Air Jordans. And, like, I'll say, like, I don't have time for that. Like, I just don't have time.
I know, but there are a lot of
It's
people.
the whole nature of ads is that you serve enough of them, eventually you'll catch somebody who does want to do that.
Yeah,
In fact, it's almost frighteningly mathematical if you actually study advertising. They know when they put
Just
something
exact
up,
percentages.
0.2% will click on it, and they know that this will happen.
That disturbs me so greatly.
Disturbs me greatly too.
It seems like a really good idea on paper, and like for me personally, I don't see people like really like at the very beginning. The amount of eyeballs they're going to get that they're going to grab are going to be huge because people are going to want to play with it.
Yeah,
What kind of apps
definitely.
do they have?
Yeah.
But then over time, people are just going to be like, "Yep, seen it. It's another app. It's just another ad." Like, and I don't really.
Well, it's up to the advertiser to come up with a way to make it fun and engaging and interesting.
Right.
Just like you'll watch funny ads on TV, right? Because
Yeah.
they're funny. Like the guy in the horse.
The
I'm on a horse.
Doritos commercials. Yeah,
I like watch that
the Old
myself on
Spice
YouTube. It's just so
commercial.
damn hilarious. Yeah.
So let's all, Ian, where do you think Android is after the OS 4 preview?
I mean, I think it's positioned very well in terms of feature-to-feature comparison, right? I don't think there's much that Android's actually missing. It's really that Apple has done a fantastic job of being the dictator and doing that part well, right? They know how to keep their OS and their phone very clean, which helps a ton. But Android has taken the other approach, and I think that'll work out pretty well for them.
What do you think, Mark?
I think most people were not that impressed, other than with the iAds, and I think there's more there than you do. But I would have to say overall, it was a big yawn. I think Android's in pretty good shape still.
Jeff?
I don't follow Apple News. No, pretty much just got to echo what these guys said. So
It's
advanced, but not like anything stunning.
nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Nothing that's going to make people go
It's a catch-up.
like they did when they announced the iPhone. People were
Yes.
just like, like, I mean, this is going to change cell phones.
It's
and-
all
And that's
defensive.
exactly the thing, right? That's totally it. This was a catch-up. That was an announcement that changed the game, right?
Yeah.
The iPad changed the game. That made people go crazy. But this was just a catch-up. And
So a circle wave in our chat room says no one mentioned the wallpaper, and good for iPhone that you finally get to have a wallpaper to customize your home screen.
that goes down with folders. Yeah,
And folders. Yeah.
Well, we didn't
That's
talk.
really- that's
We didn't
nice.
talk
Nice
about the
of
terms
them.
of service yet.
Yeah, this is what I want to get into. We're totally going to run long today, but
That's right.
let's talk about the terms of service. You explain and you just go for it because I know this is like
Yeah.
people are pissed.
Well, it's
about
pretty
this.
simple. I mean, basically, Apple has released a new terms of service for their developers, and it has a bunch of new caveats in it that weren't there before. And among them are things which basically prohibit you from using Flash, in particular, to develop applications for the iPhone. Flash doesn't work on the iPhone or the iPad, but there are ways to use Flash to develop for these platforms. That is now outlawed explicitly by their terms of service.
And so, is it that you can actually? Is there actually a compiler from Flash to iPhone existing? Because I read that they're actually going to release it like next week or something.
Yeah, there are things that exist now,
Okay.
but they're very sort of low. They're sort of low powered.
Okay.
So in other words, it's very sort of cookie cutter.
Okay.
What's about to come out is an actual translator,
Got it.
almost like a virtual machine kind
Right,
of thing, right?
right.
Where it's basically like an emulator that will basically allow Flash to run on top
And that
of the
puts
iPhone.
a huge dent in that announcement.
Right. So that's exactly. So Steve just like basically said, sorry, Adobe, that's not happening.
Oh yeah, no. They asked. They said, "Are we going to support Flash? Is the iPhone ever going to support Flash?" And Steve Jobs, no. That was the answer.
Yeah, just no.
No, just no. Not even a diplomatic. Well, we'll always look into it and we'll see and what. No, it was just no. We're not. No way.
Yep. So that's that.
I just.
Well, the other thing that was interesting too is that there was some talk that even third-party ad platforms are prohibited as well.
Someone was asking that in our chat room. They said the new TOS prohibits third-party analytics and compilers.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, it was analytics actually is what I read.
So why? Why would that be?
The same reason.
Same thing.
Apple wants to own the whole thing. Apple wants to protect their monopoly.
It's
bottom
their
line.
cake.
I don't think it's going to work. Just saying.
What
Like,
do
the
you
more
mean?
they lock it down, the more people are not going to want to work or develop for it.
It just seems like they made this mistake with Macs and PCs
It
back
sounds,
in the day.
it feels
right?
like the same thing. It really does.
Do you think that you develop? So in terms of Apple, do you think that there's a little bit of hubris behind their terms of service where they are looking at their market share right now and saying, we own, what is it, 64% of the market, I think, something like that. And for them to say, we are going to lock it down so hard that because it doesn't matter. People are always going to buy iPhones. People are always going to buy this. Do you think that that is a product of hubris, and how long do you think that's going to last with Android building so fast in terms of market share?
I think it definitely is, and I don't think it's going to last very long. Like, I mean, it's not going to be immediately like suddenly no one's developing for iPhone, no one's buying iPhones. People still buy them. It's like definitely a cash cow for them. I kind of look at it like the Windows monopoly. Like, they've been able to hold on to Windows for a long time. People are still buying Windows. But there's clearly other, in my opinion, better products out there. And Windows didn't have any incentive to change their game until very recently when they kind of realized, wow, we are way behind.
Well, I think when Snow Leopard came out, they were like, they made, with Windows 7, they made all those changes.
And even Ubuntu Linux.
And Vista and stuff. They made all these changes
Yeah.
to sort of play catch up with everyone.
I think this is basically endemic to Steve Jobs' psychology.
Yeah.
He lost big time the first time around against Gates. And
He doesn't want to do that again.
yes, but he's not learning from his mistakes. He's basically saying, no, I was right the first time. And
But
I'm
now, it's
now
gonna work.
I'm going,
Yeah.
it'll work this time for sure, Rocket. Watch, I put a rabbit in my head. So, I mean, but I really think, like, deep in his heart of hearts, he cannot let go. He's sort of trapped in the moment of his greatest success. And he just he can't become the inverse of what he is. So I until he is removed from office or
Retires.
dies or whatever, basically, if Steve Jobs is in charge, this policy will continue. But I'm with Jeff. I think in the long run, history has been very clear about who wins in this sort of battle, and it is not the person who remains closed. Over time, the open platform swarms and kills it because you just can't fight the entire world.
Unless you're Microsoft.
Yeah.
Unless,
Well, no, but even
But
Microsoft.
even then, they're
But
losing so
Microsoft
much
was
market share to,
but
yeah.
back in the day, I mean,
They were
everyone's
the
like, oh,
open,
They
yeah.
were the open one. I mean, you could get in there and monkey around with the
Do whatever you want.
Right.
And you still can. You can open
You
up
sure
a
you
can
can.
open up a box and you can upgrade stuff. You can do it yourself.
There's
Very
competition at
DIY.
every level. And
Yeah.
don't forget, this thing the cost of ownership of this is less than half the cost of ownership of this.
Exactly.
And that right there, no matter what, if you can't afford this, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't
Yep.
matter.
Well, Android's still alive. That's the consensus. They'll be fine. And I'm sure over time it'll, I really see the two of them really holding the majority of the market share
Yeah.
within a year it'll be pretty level. I think they'll be neck and neck in terms of market share.
I think you're
Pretty
right.
close.
And Microsoft is also making an announcement on Monday. So
Oh, do we know what that is? Do we have any
I've
inkling?
heard it's Pink, Microsoft Pink.
What's that?
It's you know, I don't know enough about it to
Terrible name.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. I think of Victoria's Secret
I'm
line.
not like I will literally like I will profess my ignorance and say I'm not really sure. I haven't heard a
not
whole
sure
lot
either.
about it.
I think it is their mobile app. It has something to do with their mobile
Has
platform. but I
it
don't
does
know
have
what.
something to do with their mobile platform. I have a couple of friends who know people in Microsoft, and they've been like, you gotta pay attention on Monday. But then I've seen from like Engadget and a couple of other sites that they're saying, oh no, it's just a real quick like announcement. It's nothing really important. But
I guess we'll wait till Monday and see.
yeah, we'll see. Next week we'll have more things to talk about. I would say every week there's new Android and Android competitor news. Fugufish is saying, isn't it a little counterintuitive that the new terms of service will decrease developer participation, and at the same time Apple brings in an ad platform that depends on the number of developers and apps?
That's a great point.
Yes.
I think
Steve
we have
doesn't care.
Yeah, some cognitive dissonance going on there.
He's Steve Jobs, and it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
That's right. That turtleneck is choking his blood to his brain. Or something.
You might be right. You might be right. He might be a bigger turtle. Well, you know what? Let's go to App of the Week. So some really interesting stuff this week. Going more to the business side of things, we have our App of the Week is Delivery Manager, and it is made by a company called Telargo. And our guest via Skype is now Jozef. Is it Casar or is it Casar?
Hey, yeah, it's better like the second one. It's Casar.
Casar, okay.
I like Casar also.
Okay. And he is the Vice President of Operations at Telargo. And thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for inviting me.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about what Delivery Manager is and how it works?
Delivery Manager is the application that we developed for Android, and it's more for the companies that are using and have ever encountered with delivering goods. So it's a easy application that can be put down on a mobile phone, and then the driver, who is the guy who is delivering really the goods to the customer, has all the data on his phone from the customer. What is the delivery points? What is the sequence of the customers that he needs to visit? The phone that he can call. Even we have even implemented together with the navigation and image processing that is already inside of Android. So if it feels like a new guy who doesn't know about the route, he can always say, okay, this is the customer that I need to go, please guide me. So he's using the navigation tool that's already in Android. So it's an application that is not like for every person that is on a regular, but it's more for the customers that are already in a delivery business.
Cool. And in terms of how it works, it connects to the Telargo Fleet Center. So
Yes.
you guys already have an existing network.
That's it. We already have like a fleet management platform that's like on a back end. So this is the first, it's like 2 steps how it's working. The first step is like the dispatcher needs to put all the orders that he's getting into the fleet management system, and then the routing and the scheduling software calculates the trips. And after that is done, then this is then sent down to the devices, to the mobile phone. And then after that, the user can use this trip as I described previous. So it's a 2-way communication between the phone and our system. So the dispatcher that is sitting inside the office has always real-time data. What are the drivers doing? How's the progress? Where are my drivers? So what is the progress? What is the progress of my delivering the goods? So he knows if the drivers are in front of the schedule, if some of them are like behind of the schedule. So it's like a 2-way communication with our already existing system that we have.
So do you guys have any questions yet? I just feel free to pipe in like when I answer this. Yeah, it's a really neat business application, especially for companies that are needing to have things delivered on time. Like a really good example is my fiance works for an LED touring company where they have to have things. I mean, they'll do tours like Black Eyed Peas and things like that. And if something needs to get delivered, it needs to be delivered at the time it needs to be there. It needs to be at the right place. I mean, and so to have something like Delivery Manager to be able to track something like that seems like it would be an extremely valuable commodity in terms of your business application.
I have one question, which is, given a queue of things to deliver, places to deliver to, do you guys just go based on sort of time it came in, or do you actually route sort of the best route around how to get to all those places?
Yeah, depends on the time of the day, because the system is learning from the previous deliveries. Let's say if you have a company that's already doing a lot of delivering, so if he's going on a highway, let's say at 7 a.m., that from point A to point B, it will take him, 5 minutes. If he's doing that at the rush hour, it will take him like 10, 15, 20 minutes. So system is learning through the more and more trips that is making. The system is learning by itself, so the prediction is more and more accurate. And yeah, hello?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and we are also, the system is also optimizing the customer. So let's you have also like a time frame that you need to deliver. Let's say it's one customer wants to be delivered at 1 p.m., the other one at 1:30, and the other one at 2 p.m. So all these parameters are then put into the system together, so that, and then according to all this, it calculates and optimizes the route, so that the driver knows, okay, this is my first one, this is the second one. So it goes by the sequence that he's already having there. So he's not thinking a lot where to go next, because the system will tell him, okay, this is the first customer that need to visit, this is the second one. And he has on a phone, he can see all the goods that he needs to deliver. So the driver by itself is not thinking a lot, he's just making his job. So he's going from point A, point B, C, D, and then he finishes his daily performance.
I have a question. So why did you develop on the Android platform as opposed to the iPhone?
This was we started 5 months ago. We started thinking about going from our existing system to something new. And then we say, as you were saying at the beginning, it's open, it's multitasking. And now that we have started developing, we see the simplicity of how we can really build the application for it. It's incredible. You have so many users interfaces already there, the applications that you can use. You can just pick one of them together. I mean, you just pick them and put them in together. So that's how, at that time, Android was the best decision. And now we are quite happy that we made that decision.
Yeah, that's actually interesting, because a lot of times the enterprise market for these things, much larger than the consumer market. So never mind if everything else is equal, just that alone, the fact that it's cheaper.
Yeah. I have a question that you sort of just answered for us, but what sort of built-in libraries or tools are you able to use for this?
Oh, we were using image processing. We were using navigation that is already in, media player. It's also the internet browser that we already use. We didn't wrote them. We just used them. That was already there.
How have you guys? Are there any ideas that the development process or the developers haven't been able to implement because of limitations on data down? Like, for example, are you going to be able to change anything or add anything that you wanted to as 4G becomes more popular with U.S. carriers?
This application was originally developed for HSDPAs, like 3.5G. So, which it's not differs a lot according to the terms of bandwidth for the 4G. So the application by itself, if you have an IP connection, you can use it. But on the 4G, I think the users by itself would gain a lot because of the bandwidth. The upload, download will be much faster. And also we were thinking to add more things like speech recognition, which are also on the other side, the user perspective, which will be much better than on 3.5. But as I said, we won't gain a lot according to application, but from the user perspective, the bandwidth will be a little bit, they will use the benefit of it.
So this is something that only is you at Telargo. You developed it internally for the Telargo fleet, right? This is not a product that can be bought. It's not a product thing. Is that
not,
or is it?
Not currently. It's not in the market. We have developed this also for like the Japanese very mobile operator who wants to penetrate this on a enterprise market. So they have a lot of customers, like small or mid-size customers that they want to offer this. No, it's not like that you can go because you need to put some system in. You need to use the routing and scheduling so that the system you get like 100% out of it.
Right. I guess what I'm saying is if I have like the Mark Jeffrey truck fleet, which I'm going to have very soon, and I want to buy this from you, can I or not?
Yes, you can.
I can. Oh, good.
Yeah.
It just came out of beta, or is that
That's
correct?
It's a final beta testing, so it's in about a week or two we are planning to go live.
Fantastic.
Now we need a bunch of trucks.
If
Gotta get on those trucks.
If Emily wants to go to what I'm looking at on my computer, this is some of the use of the app itself.
Oh, nice.
So we have this is the interface. That's what it looks like. This is our lovely presenter, and so he's going to show us right here. You can see this is a delivery that's going through downtown there, and he can see what's come in and what's come out, and if it's done, if it's canceled. Here's a direct. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's really, really great. And I saw this and I was excited that I found it because, I just think this is something that any size business can find incredibly useful.
Pizza delivery boys.
Even that, right? Exactly. I mean, it's if you've got it on your phone, I can see this becoming sort of an application in terms of doing things like integrating it with things like pizza delivery, or like, for example, if you have your iPad getting shipped to your house, like this being sort of a proprietary software that people are going to be able to use, like maybe UPS would like lease out the technology from you and turn that into their own app where you can say like, I'm having something shipped, I want to know where it is right now.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet.
That's a great idea.
Pizza.
Flipping it, like they know where they know where they need to go, and then sending that back to the
pinging it back
pinging
it back and having it able to tell you exactly where something is at any given time. So I think you have quite a product.
Thanks. Yeah, what you haven't shown us. It's what I like on the application is the barcode scanning and the signature capture. This is like really the stuff that I like, and it's quite an add-on to the complete application. So you have a proof of delivery, and the guys really now that the goods were delivered. So nobody can say that he didn't get it because the signature is there.
Here's the we'll play the image of the barcode scanner here. So he's gonna take this and he's gonna put it over a package.
Oh, magic.
Oh, it is. It's like magic. Look at that Nexus one. And so then he can go in and hit OK. There's a signature capture here. Someone's going to sign for it. Yes, I've gotten this. I've received it. It's good, and it marks it off as done. And then they can move on to the next item, which is really great. Like, I mean, that's something in terms of functionality that we've seen things like the credit card swiper on the iPhone and now coming to the iPad. This is something that goes a step further, and now you have barcode scanning. You have, this is the exact thing that this is your package. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I definitely see it really becoming incredibly useful in terms of, it could be a very, very small business using it, or it could be a very, very large business using it. I think it'll scale nicely.
It's pretty cool to see all these different technologies that normally would have their own devoted hardware,
exactly.
or something like that, all condensing into one individual device.
Yeah.
And it's not even a hardware-dependent device; it's just software, and you can run the operating system on any sort of phone, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Totally sweet.
So when are you guys planning on? Do you have an estimate of when Delivery Manager will actually be out of beta and released for companies to purchase?
Yeah, we are planning. The first step is to offer this to our distributors, and which are already using our system. And then I think it will be like a month or two, if I may say, that will be on open for also for the public. But the first step that we planned this in like 2 steps. The first step is like we will offer this to our existing customers that already are using our system and our distributors, and then the second step is to also open it for public.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Anybody have any more questions? You're all
Good.
questioned out.
Well, good for now.
All right. Well, if you guys are interested in following Telargo and Delivery Manager, you can catch them on Twitter at The Green Fleet. And you can also go to their website, telargo.com. And Jozef, thank you so much for coming on via Skype and talking to us about Delivery Manager. I think it's great.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, and we'll I'm sure maybe we'll get you back on after it's out of beta and in the market, and we'll talk to you some more about it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Oh, that was Jozef. He's great. Like
Yeah.
I saw that app and I just thought it was really
That's a good find. Good
really
for you.
cool.
Well
Really,
done.
really cool. So many great applications. And again, it's like the scale of it. I really love that you can scale it and customize it to any size.
It's different. It's not the sort of
business.
thing you normally would hear about in sort of our little universe that we travel in. So
Yeah. And
Sound good.
when I heard of it, and I was just like, oh, Delivery Manager, like what's that? And I figured it would be something along the lines of, like where's my UPS package?
Tracking
Right,
package.
right.
Where's my iPad?
Yeah, so it
Where's my
sounds like
Nexus
that.
one? And then I was reading about it, and I'm like, this is so much cooler than I had ever anticipated it to be in terms of application. Like, I just think it's great that you can optimize, verify, track, navigate to, report status of location. Like, I mean, that was just, it's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So definitely a good app. I hopefully, fingers crossed, have a really good guest for next week.
Ah, keep our
Big.
fingers crossed.
It's a big
Get a big guest.
big guest.
Bigger than Jeff.
No,
Bigger than Mark is really the question.
bigger than yours.
I don't know about that.
Wolverine.
Yeah, bigger than Wolverine. Maybe.
Ching.
I'm working on the claws.
Well, let's do the news. We got a lot of news to cover this week.
We do.
Are you
This
ready?
is a big
Just
pack.
I
I'm
know.
gonna go as fast as I
The
can.
rundown I made is
All right.
like huge.
Okay.
Sorry.
Timing you. Let's
go
go.
for it.
All right. Android market gets 9,000 new apps in March. World domination can't be far behind. Want to know what exponential growth looks like? Try following Android's progress over the past few months, and you'll be treated to plenty of rapidly ascending charts. The latest one from AndroLab is no different, illustrating as it does the ever-increasing influx of new games and applications for Google's mobile platform. So 9,000 new additions to the market. Quantity does not guarantee quality, but what we're witnessing is surely the solidification of Android as a legitimate and fully fledged member of the smart OS upper echelon. And that can only be a good thing. So,
Definitely.
question, is this really a growth? Do you think it's going to overtake the,
Well, here's the. You got to see this.
we have the
you got to
graph?
see this
Oh, we
image.
do. Oh,
the
good.
graph is insane. It's new applications and games. So there's the very, very tall one is March. Of these are new applications and games, not total.
so the speed, yeah. Just games.
Speed and quantity, just applications and games in the
Okay.
market by month. So you're looking at July of 2009 on the left side here. And then here's March,
Yeah, it's exponentially.
9,308.
For comparison, AppStoreHQ has both Android and iPhone apps, and don't quote me on this number, but we have a rough estimate of how many apps iPhone gets in a month, and last month was about, I think, don't flame me, it was like 13,000 or so.
So
Oh,
catching
wow.
up
It's getting
real
close.
So
quick.
it's almost
Getting close.
neck and neck.
Yep.
Well, and as of right now, this was the 8th, so it was yesterday. So you're looking at 2,162 new apps just in April right now, and more today, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it's behind.
So, just in 8 days. So it's going to be huge. Give it, I'm telling you, 4G is going to be Android is already huge, and when the Evo comes out and when the Incredible gets released in the next 3 weeks, it's going to be insane. Pandemonium. People are going to want Android phones. It's going to put Android on the map to the everyday user, not just the tech geeks who love cell phones.
Right. Okay. All right, next story. Nexus 1 users are getting fed up with issues. Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
So Google's self-coined superphone, sorry, my Storm on Demand voice is coming is
Well, you have
starting
your Fantastic Four shirt on.
superhero thing. Is starting to attract negative attention in the eyes of its owners. So, in particular, people are complaining about the 3G connectivity issue. The touchscreen is unresponsive and sensing incorrect input. Unresponsive trackball, Wi-Fi connectivity issue, lock button response issue, proximity sensor sensitivity issue, ambient light sensor issue, Bluetooth issues, fails to operate, inadequate volume, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of stuff.
Speaker, ringer, earpiece, headset connector. Manufacturer says phone cannot go in a pocket.
That was my
Really?
favorite.
That one's
Where
my
is
favorite.
that?
That was definitely my
Number
Down at the bottom
13.
Oh my God.
Phone
that's-
mutes when calling people, can only be unmuted by turning mute then off. Missed
Wait.
call notification trackball doesn't flash. I mean,
Can't be that bad.
well, these are all like, apparently these are all issues people are having that more than a
Yeah.
handful of people have been complaining about.
There's
That's
a chorus
unfortunate.
rising.
Yeah. There's a rising chorus. And people are getting upset.
Yeah.
Like they bought that phone to have the best smartphone on the market.
Yeah.
And there's
It's not
some,
cheap phone either.
Yeah, it ain't cheap. So people are like, I spent $600 on this phone. Where's my fixes?
Yeah, no, you can't blame them for that.
And they come straight from Google. So it's like, hey Google, like
it's Google's fault, right?
get
Well,
fix please.
Yeah,
I can't blame them for that.
can't either.
The dictator
we
wins
got
on this
Droid.
one, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing has actually had some Wi-Fi issues that sort of been creeping up, but by and large, there's nothing.
And I'd
wrong
heard
with
there was some like connectivity issues,
Yeah.
but then there was some fix
it. Yeah, I
that
think
I'd seen
it's very
posted
quickly
somewhere.
fixed. So
But I don't know. I mean, Google's kind of, they're big enough. They should have put out something good.
yeah, but I think they're inexperienced. I think really what
Yeah.
we're
In the
seeing.
In the mobile market, yeah.
We're seeing Apple. Its entire existence has been based around hardware
Oh,
plus
okay.
software,
Sure.
right? And this is
Yeah,
Google's
give you
first
that.
time around the block at this. So
But I'm pretty happy with the Droid, and don't have all those. most of
again,
those
not
issues,
Motorola's
so.
first time around the block.
Right, exactly.
Right,
So,
right.
so I guess we can blame.
Inexperience.
Inexperience with mobile hardware. It's new to them, and
Yeah.
it's an amazing phone. The Nexus One is an incredible phone, but you gotta get your fixes out.
Yeah, it's got to be right. All right, next story. Google further embraces QR codes. We will too. So Android lovers understand those square barcode-ish looking things called QR codes. We talked about this on the last show. Much more so than the average American, but they still haven't really picked up steam in the United States outside a few main pockets of interest, otherwise known as Ashley Esqueda.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very interested by this. I love the idea of QR codes. I want to be able to they have shirts in Japan where you can scan somebody's shirt and it's their Facebook page. It's unbelievable. It's
Wow.
QR codes everywhere.
That's like the
what-
South Park episode from Wednesday night.
It's so great. QR codes. I am a big proponent of QR codes.
Okay, so basically, so the Android Market app, Android Market is one place where the QR codes are actually taking off. So we talked about last week the web experience that we ran across, where you basically you browse on the web, and then you took your phone and you scanned the QR code. That was how you actually got the application.
That's how we do
shopping
it on
for
our
apps.
site for
Yeah.
Android Market.
Right, exactly. So
You're
that's,
worried you're gonna scan something and your phone's gonna get syphilis or something like that though. You don't know what it is.
You don't
until
know where that
after you
QR
scan it.
code's been.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know.
it's not Snow
kinda
Crash.
weird.
You should patent that, phone syphilis. That's really special.
Good band name.
Yes, that's a good band name. Perfect.
All right, so Google now has jumped into the mix, and if you go to basically if you add .qr to the end of any shortened link, Google will generate a QR code for you.
Yeah.
So which is
If you
pretty.
use their link shortener,
GOO.gl.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they will just you can add if it's http goo.gl/sjhz, it would become that .qr, and you'd get a little QR code that you could.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Ding. Yeah, very neat. Very, very cool.
So, but anyway, so this is another step forward. These things are huge in Japan. We talked about that a little bit last week.
It's a big deal.
It's very big. Okay, so next story. HTC Incredible manual leaks. Verizon informally confirms it. Out on April 29th? Question mark. So you can't buy an Incredible from Verizon just yet, but we're getting awfully close. And in the meantime, you've got some exciting new reading material to pore over. It looks like the full, unabridged, seemingly final version of the phone's user manual has just leaked out over Android forums. And while there aren't any blockbuster revelations in here so far as we can tell, it confirms what we've long suspected. This is basically a CDMA Desire with an 8-megapixel camera. You've got the full Sense UI experience atop Android 2.1, a 3.7-inch WVGA
AMOLED,
AMOLED display.
which is glorious. Love the
Glorious.
AMOLED.
1 gigahertz Snapdragon, and an optical joystick. A new trend out of HTC that looks destined to completely supplant the trackball, much as it already has done for RIM. Around back, we've got some confirmation that the Incredible is going to feature a positively bizarre contoured battery cover.
Hey, it's really weird. It's like
Have you seen what does it look like?
yeah, there's a rendering. Here, I'll pull that up on my computer too. It's there's this. It reminds me of the body style of the Evo.
Okay.
But it's like now this is not necessarily this is not an actual render from Verizon, but
So this is basically interpreted from the
supposedly
manual.
this is supposed to be the render of it. You can see on the back with the
that's not
camera
that
here.
weird.
It's like raised, but then there's like a really strange sort of. Let me see if I can make this bigger.
Cutout at the bottom
There
too.
we go. Yeah.
Oh,
So you can see it's sort of like this strange, like cutout
Kinda weird
shape.
with the-
It's like,
Yeah.
but it looks, it's very reminiscent of the Evo.
I don't know if I'd call it positively bizarre contoured.
Yeah, but it's very reminiscent of the Evo, like the way
Yeah.
with the double flash, and it's got. So I don't know. Like I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, I don't think this is the phone. I think this is like a render of the Evo. Like I told somebody,
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's interesting.
I said
You might be right.
it looks like a render of the Evo, and how is that gonna because they're saying it's basically a CDMA desire. Well, I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm switching up phone images in my head, but
Yeah. Does anybody know what the optical mouse or what do
I
they
was
call
wondering
it?
that as well.
Yeah.
yeah, because here's the thing. Here's the this is the desire.
On
So
the screen.
on my screen, this is the desire. So this is not the same. This is not the same phone as I just pulled up. The render that's
Right.
that's the Evo. Like
So
I looked
not
at it
the
like that's
droids
the
we're
Evo
looking
with the
for?
double LED flash, and yeah, these are not the droids these are not the androids you're looking for. This is, if I had to guess, this would be what
Yeah,
the
so you think
Incredible
it's this.
is.
Yeah.
It's going to be it'll probably be a little blockier than that because Verizon doesn't tend to like really nice curved edges.
Yeah.
But it'll be that. That's the phone that people are going to be getting in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So
All right.
I know an Evo when I see one.
I guess I would think
I
that
have
you do.
dreams about it
I'm
at
sure
night.
you do.
I know what it
You know, I
looks
trust
like.
your gut on this one for sure, so I'm not going to even argue with you. So, all right. HTC beats earning estimates in the first quarter. Cites awesome marketing.
It has been awesome.
I think they're probably right, actually. There's no doubt that the impending legal antics, so HTC got sued.
Yeah.
Basically last week
HTC's
by
being
Apple.
sued by Apple.
Yeah, so
20 different patent infringements.
Yeah, they basically said, hey, dudes, you copied the iPhone pretty much. And they're attacking like crazy. But the first quarter financial results came up roses, 1.2 billion in revenue, up some 19.3% year over year, and 11% higher than the high end of its estimate going into the earnings call.
Which is awesome.
Yes. Though that still represents an 8% drop against last quarter. So remember, it was holiday time, so you're not going to beat Christmas. I mean, it's a retail business. You're just
Can't be Christmas every
still,
day.
I mean, to be honest with you, but an 8% drop from Christmas
That's
pretty
pretty
tough.
good.
for Q1. That's tough.
Pretty solid,
That's
yeah.
macho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing real well.
So even though it sounds bad, it's actually not at all. It's actually pretty awesome. So HTC says successful marketing campaign and awesome hardware. So anyway, yeah, good for them.
Yeah, really good for them. And it's only going to get better. Only going to get better. As when the Evo comes out, the Incredible. I mean, they've got so many great smartphones coming out this year.
Yeah.
And an ignorant question: how old is HTC? Because I've only really known about them for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think they're older than we think.
Is that
That's my guess. Like, I think they just sort of came out of the woodwork, but they've been there. That's just my guess.
Full Wikipedia.
That is a good call.
While you're doing that, I'll read the next story.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll look that up.
So next story, Android and Arduino packing Cellbot features voice recognition, autonomy, and charm to spare. The Cellbots gang has been furiously productive as of late. Not even a month after their Boxbot was first out on YouTube. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's a new Android-powered robot.
You got to see this thing.
Yeah.
I got a picture of it up on for Engadget. This thing is like. Oh, this is their website. Here we go. Here's the picture of this thing. So it's it's like a little bot, but it's really cool because they have implemented some things that work. It's Android powered, but has an ultrasonic range detector, so the robot will override the operator and prevent itself from running off a cliff.
Oh, wow.
Like, which is, to me, the beginning of Skynet.
I was going to say that. I was going to say this
The
might not be a good
robots,
idea.
yeah, don't like.
Kill it now.
I
Kill
read
it.
that and I was like, this seems like the worst idea ever, teaching robots how to not obey human beings. Because I'm
first
convinced
law of
someday.
robotics.
Yeah, exactly. That's a direct violation of the first law of robotics.
The first step, man.
That's
That
not
is
cool.
the first step towards Skynet. Makes me very nervous.
I think they're allowed to protect themselves as long as by doing so they don't cause harm to
I
humans.
know, but you know,
Pretty sure
disobeying
that's
a
the
human.
law.
But it has,
like
and
that.
it has like voice recognition. It integrates the Android compass. Like it's very like it's amazing. Some of the things that people are doing with, you know, something not, you know, we talk a lot about cell phones here, but like, just wanted to like, I thought it was so cool that people are using Android for this. Like this is so great.
Just for reference, the Arduino board's like a microchip board. It's a open source sort of hardware thing that people release a lot of stuff for. You can buy them online and that sort of thing. So this must just be some sort of someone's taken the kit and put together an Android device, which is pretty
Android
sweet.
robot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Robot car that disobeys its master when it tries to drive it off a cliff.
Sounds
Which
like a very bad plan.
sounds like a movie waiting to happen.
All right, next story. I'm disturbed by that last one.
Yeah. Well, you'll be just as disturbed by the next one. Trust me. I found
I'm
like
noticing
the
as
weirdest,
I'm reading it.
Uh,
Okay, so hilarious and weird viral droid ads showing up online. Well, these secret Motorola Droid unlock code videos are popping up all over YouTube. What do? You ask. Well, some of the codes will scan pockets and reveal how much money a person's carrying, translate your dog's barks, make you a pool shark, change traffic lights from red to green, like so.
Do we
have the
have
video
that
or
video? I was wondering if we were able to have. I knew we wouldn't have Skype, so we might be able to have it. Yeah, we have a link in our chat room, but anyway.
I actually think I saw one of these videos where a guy unlocked something in his phone.
It won't have sound, but
oh, let's see it anyway.
here's the ad. So this is the secret code, and then they're driving down the street, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna change the light to green." Like, and they change the lights as it's going. They're like, "See, oh, it's so hilarious! Oh,
Look what Droid can do."
Look how cool my Droid is! Like, this is great." And then you
Wait, you guys don't have that app?
Yeah, like Jeff's got the app.
That's funny.
So, but then they have other ones like really weird.
I saw one where some guy unlocked a taser.
Yeah.
Like basically tased another dude. And then like, so basically it's from the point of view from the guy being tased. And the camera view just goes and just like goes back like 50 feet. The guy's like, oh! And you see his feet go up in the air.
Which is hilarious. There's like another one about the money scanning. Like this like guy like types in his code and then he like scans his pocket. He's like, it says $5. Like, and it's just so.
Of course, none of this is real. So
what
we're
a great viral marketing campaign.
But it is pretty fun.
Yeah, I
think,
like.
So the question is, are they behind it?
I don't know.
I mean, who's behind it?
I think so. I think they're too well produced to not be behind.
So I know that there was one where it was like you were scanning like a stomach of a pregnant woman, right? And you could see the baby, like the ultrasound, right? And that was actually on a train, and so the train was a Chicago train, and I noticed that a couple others were Chicago. So the first thing that came into my mind was that it's actually Motorola.
Interesting.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking. Like just what we just saw on the screen there, where the lights are changing. What if I get, I believe
Do you
this,
sue for
right?
that? Yeah.
And then I go through the red light and I get in an accident and I go, oh, but I thought it was real, and then I sue Motorola. That's why I think it's not them. Because I mean, that's like,
so
it's a fairly reasonable case that you can make.
Tying in with that, one of our chat room people, Fugu Fish, asked on it from a business perspective, what do you all think if someone is able to consistently create these weird apps and get virality from them? Like, do you encourage that from, like, if this is a third party, not involved, not connected to Motorola or Android, anything like that, do you encourage that? Do you say, oh, no, whoa, let's not get people to do dangerous things, like,
I just ignore it. Can't
Turn
do
a blind
anything about
eye.
it. Yeah, basically.
Turn
Kinda
blind
good for
eye.
you.
I agree.
I'd imagine with something that goes viral, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
As they say in Firefly or Serenity, they say, can't stop the signal, Mal. And you can't. You can't stop the signal. It's not going to happen.
I'm gonna roll with the sci-fi quotes today.
Yes, I am like,
three or four now.
Quoted
geez.
Asimov. Who else?
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
Little Terminator.
Yeah, exactly. Skynet. I mean, we're
I don't think
like.
we've hit Dune yet, so we have to work that.
All right. And we got a Highlander.
Dune
Over
quote.
to you.
Okay, so Rhapsody officially hits the Android market. So Rhapsody, being the competitor to iTunes by Real Networks, I think Real Networks still. They're independent. Officially hit the Android market. So now we have a legitimate way to get music in the Android market. Not legitimate. There's other legitimate ways, but a well-produced way. Something that's
subscription service.
Fairly equivalent to iTunes in terms of quality and et cetera. So it's a subscription service. So it's all-you-can-eat music for $10 a month, but there's a 7-day free trial period. Which is pretty cool.
Try it out.
Ashley's a big fat cheapskate, so $10 a month is too much for her.
Yeah, totally. I won't pay $10 a month for on-demand music that you lose. Why
not? $10 is too much, really?
You're a musician. You're
a musician
too. I know, and I
still
hate myself for feeling that way.
So you want money for your music.
I have a lot of self-loathing about that.
I read this, I'm like, you're kidding me, really?
No, I have a lot of self-loathing about that. I'm just like, oh god, I just can't bring myself to pay $10 a month. I'll pay $15 a month to play World of Warcraft and have a bunch of virtual crap, but I won't. But somehow, I can't justify. Yeah, somehow I can't justify. But for me, it's I would rather.
It's like me stealing books.
See, I'd rather buy it. I'd rather just buy the album. And I'm sure some of my friends would be like, no, you wouldn't. I know you too well. But
it's an all-you-can-eat buffet of music.
But I guess I just don't consume. If I was a music, I have friends who are music snobs who are just they just eat music up on a daily basis. Right. They are consuming new music. They're finding new stuff. I mean, in that case, absolutely, Rhapsody is an incredible service, and any of the unlimited music subscription services. But for me, I am one of those people who I get on a record, the Them Crooked Vultures album. I have been playing that record nonstop in my car for 2 months. I'm one of those people.
You just want the actual album, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to pay $10 a month to play the same album in my car over and over again.
But you'd probably pay $10 for the album.
I'd rather pay $10 just for the album, and then I'll have it for.
I feel when I'm paying monthly, though, I feel obligated to then use it as much as I can, and then I feel there's pressure. It's
okay. All right.
It's like work. Yeah.
See, it's work. You gotta find new music. I'm very lazy. I'm lazy and I'm cheap. So that's I can't justify. I mean, I totally get it that some people are.
You probably end up spending more music or more money, though, won't you?
Probably.
Yeah.
No, because I don't even buy new music. It's really sad. I just listen to it and then I'm like, this is really good, and then I get it from my fiance, and then I play it in my car all the time.
What do you mean you get it from your fiance?
He'll give me a copy of it.
Magically gets it from somewhere?
No, he buys it. He's so legit. He's super musician guy. He buys his music, supports the artist. No, he burns me copies of stuff, and he's like, here, just go play it in your car because I know you're never gonna buy it. I know. He's like, I know you're never gonna buy it. So, and I'm like, thank you.
Wait, where'd the Android news go?
I know, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
All right, coming back.
My favorite story.
All right, so next story, Sprint Evo 4G dropping June 13th. And 4G costing $10 to $20 extra. So according to Engadget, the scoop from inside Sprint is that they're honing in on June 13th as the Evo 4G release date. It's not 100% confirmed. But it is encouraging that June 13th is the latest date being discussed. Seems unlikely that Sprint would let the release of their new flagship device slip behind Apple's new iPhone.
Because that's right around...
Right, because that's right around the same time as well. They're also hearing that the 4G will be a $10 to $20 plan add-on. And the price should include Evo's 8-device Wi-Fi hotspot capability.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But then we heard, I guess Engadget had been written by a bunch of people insisting that the add-on fee would just be for the 4G hotspot service.
Oh, okay.
The 4G, the overdrive capability, if you will. Yeah. But not 4G access for the Evo itself. So.
Yeah, that would be weird. Yeah, actually, I think that would.
Well, if you're going to use Evo, we're going to charge you a little extra. But But you know what though? I don't know. Maybe it'll be a tiered data plan where they say if you use X amount of data. I mean.
Maybe.
We'll see. But I'm just excited that, they're talking about the phone now coming out because they said summer, and I'm like, great, August. That was the first thing that came in my head. Awesome. August 31st. Right, exactly. I know what I'm going to be saying. It'll be the last day of summer.
All right.
Yeah, okay. I'm fine. I got to mark that on my calendar as the day to go camp out in front of a Best Buy. No, June, that's great. Especially because my contract is up June 1st. So, so convenient for me. I love that.
Yeah, anyone listening... You should get her a free phone, seriously, because this is ridiculous.
And I'm so cheap.
And
I have to wait. I have to wait for June 1st, and I'm shopping around, and man, that Evo's going to come out 2 weeks after my contract is up.
So people out there watching this, you want someone who's going to yap about your phone nonstop for at every show?
And I'm one of those people who like my phones are like my children. I like show them to
No, I
people.
know.
I'm like, ooh, look at my
I know.
cool phone. Like, you know what
You're
it
still
did
trying
the
to
other
push
day?
that Palm stuff
like,
on me. I'm like, really?
I'm like, look what my phone did the other day. Like, it's it's like, oh, it's sad. It's really.
No, you do that with your Palm. I know, and I'm like,
I
I'm
do.
like,
I'm
it's
like,
like
look at what it does.
stepchild.
I know. It's
like
no,
eating paste in the corner.
it's like an orphanage. Like this is an unwanted. This is unwanted. This is an unwanted phone.
Thing.
Oh, I know, my poor Pre. It's so elegant, and it makes me sad that it doesn't have as much of a market share as.
That's just time has passed.
I know. I just say, I've been talking to somebody on Twitter all week about this, and actually, he was. Did you see this? Like, we were arguing about this over Twitter, like me and this other person, and he was just like, he's like, you don't own an Android phone, because I said something about Android minions. He's like, you don't even have an Android phone, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but I can still be excited about it.
I tried to give you my Droid last week, and you wouldn't take it.
No, I don't want. It's a boy phone. I don't want a girl phone.
Just so everyone knows, I tried to give her my Droid. I actually did. I not.
I don't want your Droid.
I tried to give it to you, and you would not take it.
It's used. I want a new phone, fresh.
Oh, okay.
I gotta customize it
right.
myself. I gotta jailbreak it. I gotta do everything to it.
I tried. So, but comment I heard this week was that Palm is the MySpace of phones.
It is.
Ooh, that's
It's
low.
like, ooh, I don't know if that hurts Palm or MySpace.
But MySpace, though, is like, MySpace is for like kids. Like, it's a really elegant operating system. It's really unfortunate. Like, their timing was just really bad, and the hardware was just in between two different worlds.
Maybe the Friendster of phones.
Yeah, they're like the
Palm-
Friendster of phones.
If they're the MySpace, who's the Bebo?
I don't know.
It's getting shut down.
Yeah,
I don't.
Diva.
Probably Nokia.
As long as you're not the Orchid. Anyway,
Yeah.
So, next story.
This is exciting.
Yes. Google giving away phones again for devs going to the I/O conference. Oh, look, here you go. Here's your chance.
I know. I was going to call
Here's
you. I
your
was like,
chance.
hey, get me in.
As is quickly becoming the norm at developer conferences, we're hearing that the Nexus 1 and Motorola Droids are being given out at the next Google I/O conference in San Francisco next month, which makes sense. I mean, because that's where all the early adopters are, and
Well, Barb Dibwad was saying she got hers at TED.
That's right.
So, and she was like, she goes, you put it in the hands of people who have a platform to talk about it.
And they
hey,
will
look
talk
at my
about
cool
it.
phone. Again, like me, I'm a yapper. I like to yap about phones.
We know. This is why we hired you.
Yep. Oh, thank you. Well, thanks for appreciating my yapping quality. So
Exactly.
few people do.
There's actually a job that you can get paid for
I
doing
know,
it.
exactly.
It's
I like
amazing.
it. It's my favorite.
So, okay. It looks like you can't go if you're not already registered. So, it's all
I know.
full.
Well,
So you can't go.
We'll get Jason to make some phone calls.
That's true. Jason can probably get you in there.
I'll sneak
Let's
in.
talk to Jake about that afterwards.
Let's
We'll
just sneak
talk.
in,
We'll
yeah.
talk. Yeah, I'll just
No one
sneak in.
knows.
I'll wear one of those like glasses with a little mustache and the big nose. It'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be completely inconspicuous.
All right. So we're run out of time here.
Yeah.
What do we want to do for stories? What do you want to do next?
Well, I really liked, just really briefly, if you're looking for a job and what is it? If you are an engineer that has experience building multimedia applications on an embedded mobile
yes.
platform, go apply at Netflix because they are looking for an Android video expert needed to build their official streaming app.
Yes, and actually, not to go back to the iPad, I will bring the evil device up only one more time, and we will not speak its name
Again, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it.
Netflix on this thing is stunning.
I've heard
Nothing
it's
short of stunning.
spectacular.
Unbelievable. And it's one of those addictive kind of like, oh, I can just watch any movie. Okay. And so I mean, the same
It
thing.
really seems like that's a productivity killer. Like I would just like sit there all day. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it's
You
video.
barely get any
books-
work done with a laptop.
Video, books, and browsing. That's pretty much it. But you know what? That's enough.
It's the right size for it.
Yeah. So I mean, so obviously the Android apps. Yeah, sorry, the Android tablets. Netflix really needs the equivalent of what I'm seeing on here. So you could be the person developing that, and got a lot to live up to based on what I'm seeing here. But
And there's a lot of people who need jobs. So if you're
That's true.
out there and you need a job and you happen to know how to engineer Netflix into their streaming
Android
mobile app
needs
for
some help.
Android, job for you. It's out there. Go get it.
so you want to do one more?
I really like this global IP solutions one, the first
Okay.
platform, because I really like the idea of this because
Okay,
people
so-
have been asking about it.
Global IP Solutions provides first platform for mobile video chat.
It's coming.
Chat roulette?
Oh God.
Global chat
oh
roulette?
God, no.
No,
You
you thought
just
chat
ruined
roulette,
all my
you
dreams.
thought chat roulette was bad now. Just
Now
wait.
forget it. Now
Now
forget
for
it.
mobile, it's out of anyway.
We can't do it anymore.
The
no.
apocalypse has commenced.
We're gonna have to shut this down.
So, ever since the announcement of Sprint's HTC Evo 4G, you've probably been wondering what we'll be hearing people using it for. And it's got a front-facing camera.
Yeah.
So, which this does not, by the way. That was a big sort of thing.
That was a big, a lot of people were upset about that.
So no camera. So blip, 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 I just got lost here. Global IP Solutions announced the availability of a platform that can see rapid development of mobile video chat. It's called Video Engine, and developers can integrate video chat into new or existing applications. Basically, I guess it's an API that just abstracts the video camera layer out. So the platform is available for Android, iPhone, Symbian.
Weird. I know. I saw that and I was like,
but not
what?
Palm. What's up with that?
Yeah, I know.
So basically,
spear in my heart, Mark. Spears in my heart.
I'm sorry, I know. So question: what are you going to use this for?
Obviously, mobile
Chat
chat
roulette.
roulette. That's what it's going to be.
Well,
It's gonna
mobile
be
site,
chat roulette.
you know,
Oh yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
Well, I mean, that's a great thing for. I mean, for example, I don't know how. I mean, the latency would be pretty bad, but if you live across the country from a loved one or parents or whatever, I mean, and you get them a Droid, and because they're 2 for $149, and you get yourself a Droid, you send one over to mom and dad, or any any front-facing phone. So if you could buy
device,
2
or
Evos,
tablet,
or device,
or
tablet, right?
or whatever.
Lots of these things you could
Toaster.
use that toaster with a front-facing
It's got a
camera. That's
camera.
what I like. And and talk to them and have video conferencing without having to be tied to a laptop, which I think that's a great concept that I think is very late to the game. It's been a long time coming. I think people have been wanting mobile, video conferencing for a long time. Because that's the one thing that's really hard about, doing Skype is that you're tethered to a phone or you're tethered to a laptop.
Yes.
And you can pick it up and carry it around, but it's not the same as like, hey, look, I'm at Disneyland, like
Yeah,
blah blah
it's all
blah.
different.
Which is fantastic. And I think with 4G, especially like an LTE coming and everything in the next year or two, we're going to see this huge explosion of video conferencing, video chat. I mean, there's things that I'm sure none of us can even imagine that are going to come out of this.
Yep.
So, but I thought that was really exciting. I'm really excited to see how future phones sort of take advantage of all of these high-speed data connections that they're all working on right now.
Yep,
So.
totally agree.
Oh, and then so South Korea bans all games. I sent you
All
that.
games. Oh, right. I forgot to bring that in.
Just real briefly, they said that I guess in South Korea there's an authority or some kind of, it's sort of like an FCC,
Minister of Games?
yeah, something like that,
Minister
where
of Fun.
they have to approve of anything that goes in mobile market, and the games
They basically got rid of all games.
dropped them.
No smiling, no laughing, no having fun.
And they said I guess the reasoning behind that was because they said, well, we'd rather just not have games as opposed to no Android market at all.
But no, what if it gets games?
I think there's a censorship issue where they have to approve of every individual game coming into the market.
What's than that with apps? I mean, you can just as easily have offensive apps, right?
You can have offensive apps, but I think this is, oh god, this is so offensive, but there's games and there's really weird hentai games and stuff in Japan.
That's what they're after. Okay.
That are really inappropriate.
So it's really
for
overlap.
Americans, we would look. I mean, there was one that was in the news recently. It's it's a horrible game. Really, I'm sure you've heard of it. But I mean, I'm sure that they probably seek to have a little bit more of a lockdown on it.
Got it.
And so I would imagine that, with all these games getting through in the Android cat, I think it just made them nervous and say, no, each individual game has to be approved. And so they just got rid of gaming.
Got it.
In the Android market, as opposed to just getting rid of the entire Android market.
I guess it's better than getting rid of the entire Android market.
So, but really interesting because, South Korea is really technologically advanced. I mean,
Yeah.
unbelievable place. So I'm curious to see how that kind of plays
You know what I
out.
bet people will do? I think people will build games into applications.
That's what I was wondering. Where do you draw that line?
Like games,
Yeah.
but they kind of are.
Well, and they didn't ban they didn't ban unsigned, I'm sure they could get things from third party. I mean,
Right.
just not through the official Android market. They can't
Got it.
get
Okay,
it.
so it'll be like a black Android market.
Yeah,
if you
black,
will.
yeah, the black Android market.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I couldn't believe that. I read that. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Everything, all games? How's
It's a
that
bit
possible?
draconian, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I
and
like that
especially
player.
gaming in South Korea is huge. MMOs are really big there. I mean, it's that's a whole culture. So that's a whole subculture of that. So, but
So
yeah,
Steve Jobs is going, don't worry, South Korea.
I'll help you. Yeah, exactly. I'll ship you some iPads, and you can buy $15 applications for it. But yeah, no, crazy stuff. So, all right. So we're like way over.
Yeah, I think it's time.
It's time. It's time. Well, let's let everybody go and do something else with their lives today. Well, first I want to thank Jozef Casar of Telargo and Delivery Manager as our app of the week. You can find them on Twitter at The Green Fleet. And then I would also like to thank Ian Sefferman, co-founder of AppStoreHQ.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in, and I'm sure we'd love to have you back.
Great.
Mark and I are yappers. We like to chat. So, and I always feel bad, like we're always talking.
Don't worry about
it. And you can find AppStoreHQ on Twitter at AppStoreHQ.
Yep.
And then of course Mark at Mark Jeffrey
Always
on Twitter.
Yep.
I love tweeting with you. It's fun.
It's always fun.
And Jeff Ammons, as always, at Jeff Ammons. And to clarify, last week I would like to make a special apology to Jeff, because last week I made a comment that a friend of mine said it made it sound like you were saying you felt smarter when Jeff was here because Jeff is stupid. And that is not true. It is not the case. I feel smarter when Jeff is here because Jeff is so smart that he brings me up to his level. To clarify.
Away on that.
So I am sorry. I felt like such a jerk last week. I totally did. I was like, oh my God, now Jeff's gonna think that I think he's an idiot. And you can also find me on Twitter at my brand new Twitter handle, Android Ashley. And as always, thank you to you, the viewer, because you guys make it all worthwhile. And we also have a couple new This Weekend shows. We got This Week in Venture Capital.
We have a very major news show. This Week in Venture Capital.
Huge.
Jason Calacanis, one of the founders of this company.
The man when it comes to venture capital.
So you want to learn how to raise money and what's involved, and what deals are going down right now. It's mostly like it's a different kind of show, because we're basically, amazingly enough, Jason's managed to do a show in somewhere between half an hour and 45 minutes, which I actually thought was impossible.
There's only one.
I'm shocked.
I thought the laws of quantum mechanics would be violated if he did that.
It's only the first one, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Give it time.
But he did do it, and so he was able to sort of constrain himself. It was himself and Mark Suster, who's a very well-known venture capitalist from LA. Very brilliant, very well spoken, unusually so for a venture guy. And basically, they dissect the deals of the week, like sort of the top 10 deals, and then also if there's any M&A activity that's interesting. So it's very quick, and it's very sort of quick. Here's what happened. Here's the commentary, very condensed. So.
But so cool. Like I mean, because there's nothing like that
no,
I've
not
seen.
Really.
I've never seen.
It's another one of those like we're trying to find these little verticals that no one is really addressing, and just really kick them out of the park and really produce really high quality content for it. So, Android is one, obviously. Cloud computing is another. Venture capital is the latest one. This Week in Twitter is getting better every week. So check us out, thisweekend.com.
Yeah, and it's Wednesdays at 2.
Yeah.
So,
also,
Pacific Standard Time.
We're also now on Justin TV. So
yeah,
we have a new
Justin.tv
Justin.tv/thisweekend is the channel we're on, and all of our live shows will be streaming from there from now on.
So we have that Justin TV, and we also have Ustream, and
yep.
You can go to thisweekend.com and check out all of our menagerie of This Weekend shows.
A menagerie, exactly.
And and again, thank you so much for joining us, and that's been This Week in Android. Have a great week.